Copyrighted music! Hello everyone and welcome to, is it Monday? It's Monday. Yeah. Quick thing before we get into Wwdc. I had a follow-up to my surgery today. I met with the surgeon. They looked at my stomach and said everything looked good, so I'm on the road to recovery. Then we went over to McAllister's, grabbed some lunch. We had to go out anyway, not only for that, but also to mail out to the Tetris painting. And now it's Wwdc 2017. I briefly forgot what year it was. iOS 11, the potential Siri speaker. I don't know, there's a few things. We're going to munch on some food while we watch this conference and hear Tim Cook tell us about how Apple's changing the world and how Joni Ive is going to make the world rounder. Apparently, if you unplug one plug from a wall at Apple, the entire world goes straight to hell. This is great. Amazon Prime Video is finally coming to Apple TV. After years and years and years, it's finally going to be a reality. There's updates to watchOS. Something useful? No. The Toy Story characters can now live right on your watch face. For some reason. New macOS is called...
Really good, and it's my privilege to announce for you today.
It's called...
macOS High Sierra.
macOS High Sierra? No, it's actually called High Sierra.
And it starts with Safari.
Which, I guess, because the last one's called Sierra, so this is just like incremental update to Sierra. Kind of like how they did like Leopard, Snow Leopard. But instead of calling it sure, I get it. High Sierra is going to be the first operating system for Apple to use the Apple file system, which is a completely new file system since they've been using HFS for like, I think Craig said 30 years. And that's cool. That could be a really interesting thing. Although I can't help but wonder, you know, if I'm switching files between like me and Dan, like if one of us has one and one of us has the other, I guess the USB drives will still have to be formatted as HFS because otherwise the computer won't be able to read them. The new iMacs in particular are powerful enough to run VR, and the Mac is now going to support VR headsets. They're working with Valve and their SDK to make everything function, and they are also supporting the Unreal Engine and the Unity Engine, and they just had a little demo on here where this person was creating like a Star Wars set like within the VR, and it's just neat, I guess, because up to this point, I haven't associated VR and Macs for obvious reasons. They even said it was going to work within other pro apps like Final Cut, so you would be able to create spherical video and then preview it in the headset within Final Cut. That's pretty neat. There's been rumors that they were trying to make a workstation class iMac, and they showed a little video, and I was like, I bet they're going to call it the iMac Pro. And they're calling it the iMac Pro, and it's ridiculous. It's they said on there that's the most powerful Mac they've ever made. It won't be available to the end of the year, but it's like they're still talking about it now. But you can get 18 cores in it. What is this computer? And it's still the form factor of the iMac. It's still an all-in-one. This computer is ridiculous. They won't have a price today, but I'm real curious to see how much something like this would even cost. You can now use Apple Pay person to person, which is actually super cool, because there's been occasions where, you know, like someone didn't have cash whenever we went out to eat with people, and they needed to like pay me via PayPal, and now we could just get out our phones and they can go burp, and then it's done. So that's nice. Siri can translate, which is neat. I mean, that's stuff that's available on phones as is, but the fact that it would be available like right into the OS is cool. So you can ask Siri, how do you say this in a language? And Siri will just say it. So that's nice. iOS has gotten a lot of updates, and they seem to be good for the most part. They redesigned Control Center, which desperately needed redesigned, and it's still really cluttered. There's still a bunch of stuff there, but at least it's not on 2 pages, which was a terrible idea and I never liked. So now everything's on 1 page. They also updated Apple Maps. It seems like it's finally getting to the point where it's usable, but they're doing a lot of other cool stuff, like there's mall directories now, which Dan is watching this too, and we have a little chat going, and he said that would have been really useful in the 90s. But there's also an airport directory, so it'll show you exactly, you know, inside of Apple Maps, inside of the airport, and like all of the different like places to eat and their times and locations and things like that. So that's all you know, really good. They've also added a do not disturb while driving mode, which basically just makes your phone stop working, more or less, but it will auto respond to people that message you and say, hey, I'm driving, I'll get back to you, you know, pretty soon. So that's all good stuff. So far, all of the iOS stuff seems really positive. For the first time ever, they're redesigning the iOS App Store, and they now have given games their own tab, which is probably good, because that separates them from all the other apps. But the default tab is Today, which just shows you apps that are launching today. And I'm not trying to be rude to developers, but why would I ever care about that? Ever. There's a new iPad Pro, and it hits 120 hertz. So the refresh rate is 120 hertz, which is crazy. And that's something that they can't show, obviously, for their projectors, but then also for my TV. I'm really interested to try one in store and see if, like, obviously you're going to notice the difference, but I want to know, like, how big of a difference that will be. There's all sorts of new updates for the iPad Pro, and I'm not going to go into all of them, but, like, it's just neat. Like, it's just, I still don't want, I don't have an iPad, and I still don't want an iPad because I just don't need an iPad, but, like, it's just really cool. There's a lot of stuff that's built right into the OS, and it's not that other tablets can't do the same things, it's just you may have to, you know, download an app, and the fact that all of this is just built right into the OS is cool. At the beginning of the event, they said there were going to be 6 things. They've now went through 5 things, and I'm guessing that the 6th thing is the rumored Siri speaker.
But what about our homes?
What about our homes, Tim? The speaker exists, and that's it. HomePod, which is not a name I would have imagined, but HomePod. Pricing is $349, which is a very, very expensive unit. But it's just, like, to us, it's definitely not worth it because, like, we don't really listen to music at home, and if we do it in the room that we live our lives in, where we already have speakers, so it's not something we would ever be interested in. Like, it seems cool, but not $350 cool. And it's over. Michelle Obama is giving a speech or something like that, or a workshop, or I don't know, something like tomorrow or tonight. Anyway, WWDC. Yeah, better than some of the previous ones, certainly. Like, there have been WWDCs that have been, like, legit, like, oh, wow, that was cool. And I think more often than not, it's just kind of been like, eh. And I think in the spectrum of eh, this one was above an eh. So this was like a eh. I don't know what you would rate that, but it was interesting learning about everything. There's some cool stuff coming. It was nice that they updated the entire Mac line. Well, not the entire Mac line, but a lot of the Mac line. The notebooks and the iMacs are getting, you know, pretty substantial upgrades. There's an iMac Pro coming at the end of the year. And actually, a few weeks back, they met with just like 5 members of the press to let them know, hey, we're going to make a new Mac Pro sometime. And that's all we know about it. They were like, yeah, the trash can design we made, like, it was cool, but it's not real modular and you can't really, like, change stuff in it, and, like, we think that we should have done it different. But that being said, the iMac Pro that's coming out in December is going to be the most powerful computer they've ever made, but only until they redo these Mac Pros, which could be next year or maybe even after that, so we don't know. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you watch WWDC and you have opinions, share them. Are any of the new products something that you're interested in? Are you in the market for the HomePod? Or maybe the new iPad Pro? It's bigger and stronger. That's basically what it is. It's got new features, but they're really a part of iOS 11, and I'm pretty sure it applied to the older models of the iPad as well. The only thing that was weird is that there was a part where Craig was like, iOS 11 is going to be available on all these devices, and, like, there was no cutaway to, like, the screen or anything, and there was no way to tell, so it'll have to be something I read online. I'm sure it'll just be most of the newer ones. Honestly, probably just the 6 or the 6S up. because so much of the system requires Force Touch now, and if you don't have Force Touch on the phone, then you can't. I mean, they have to like design around that, and that seems like a big hassle. So I don't know how long they're going to support those. So if you don't have a Force Touch phone or an iPhone, then I have a feeling that they're going to probably start trying to get you out of the deal, or make you buy a Force Touch phone. Anyway, talk about WWDC, and yeah, I'm going to call it there. Got a lot more work to do today. You got to keep working on your new painting, which is based on what game?
Pikmin 2.
Pikmin 2. That's right. You're doing the end of level screen. Yeah, the first time we played Pikmin 2, Mel saw that. She was like, that's really cool. I want to paint that. So she's going to go ahead and paint that. All right. Thanks for watching. And as always, let's meet back tomorrow, shall we?